Hey guys, happy almost Friday. I hope the last couple days have gone well for you with doing the review guide. And this is going to be a recording of the worked out solutions. So you can obviously just see the worked out solutions as well. So this is really for if you had a problem with one of the problems, you can definitely, skip ahead to that one and hear a worked out recording of it. So the first one, you're trying to find the mean, median, and mode of each set of data. So for mathematics, if you go through, and I'm actually going to organize the data first here. So I'm going to rewrite it and go through and organize. So this might take me a minute. So again, this would be something that you can feel free to skip through. And after I go through, I'm going to add up all the data points here. All right, and I'm going to double check 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's 15 pieces of information and there's 15 scores, so I know that I have them all. Okay, so for the mean, I'm going to go through and add those all up, and you should get 1,200. I know there was 15 scores, so I'm going to divide 1,200 by 15 to get the mean of 80. Okay, for the median, I'm going to go through, and I know there was 15 scores, which means I'm going to cross off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's going to be the 8th score here. Because if I did the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'd get the median of 78, and I could already tell there the mode was 97 because it was the most often. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for social studies. So again, you can definitely skip through this as I organize the data. All right, and I figured out the missing score here. I had missed a 68, so I added that back in, but that's why you always want to count your data because I actually missed that. So sometimes if you count your data, you will realize your mistake before it ruins your whole problem. Okay, so for the mean, again, I added up all the scores and got 1,080. And again, there were 15 scores. And when I divided that, I got 72. Okay, for the median, again, there were 15. So I know it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I know my median is 72. And for this one, the mode, so there's two 68s and there's two 73s. So it's going to be 68 and 73. All right, so it says which measure of central tendency best describes the mathematics and social studies scores. So for math, if I look at the measures of central tendency there, it would definitely not be the mode because that's super high. The mean and the median are pretty much the same. There's no outliers. So I'm going to say the mean and the median because the mode is too high. Okay, so the mean and the median are close together. So those would both be good representations. For social studies, again, if we look through these, the mode, we're going to say since it's 68 and 73, that wouldn't be the greatest representation. So I'm going to say, again, the mean and the median because they're the same. Okay, and again, there was no outliers that would skew that data. All right, so then we're going to go through and calculate the MAD. So we already did part of this because we found the mean. So our mean, we'll start with math here, was 80. So now we're going to go through and see how far away each score is from 80. So I'm going to go with the organized set of data here. So 60 is 20 away from 80, and 62 would be 18 away from 80, 65 would be 15 away, 69 would be 11 away, 73 would be 7 away, and there's 2 of those, okay? 75 would be 5 away. And then I'm going to, again, just keep going through the data and seeing how far away all the scores are from the mean of 80 here. So I have 5, 2, 3, 7, 7, and then 17, 17, 17, and 17. And again, I'm going to double check and count 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I know I didn't miss a score. All right, so again, those are all of the numbers. They're the distance away from the mean. So all I did was take the mean of 80 and subtract it from each score and take the absolute value of that, because distance is never negative. So if we now take this new set of data, we're going to take the mean of the new set of data. So if I add up all these data points, I'm going to get 120. And I'm going to divide that by the 15 sets of data. Sorry, it was 170, not 120. 170 divided by the 15. And that should give me 11.3 repeating. Okay, so the MAD is 11.3 repeating. And I'm going to do the same thing with social studies. So I'll do that over here. So for social studies, I know the mean was 72. And again, I'm going to go through my data set here and see how far away from the mean everything was. Okay. All right, so 72 to 57 is 15 away. And then 72 to 63 is 9 away. 72 to 64 is 8 away. 72 to 65 is 7 away. 72 to 68 is 4 away, and there's 2 of those. And again, I'm just going to keep going through here and then doing the distance away from the mean. Okay, and again, I'm going to double check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have all the scores there. So I'm going to add those all up and get 98. And I'm going to divide that by the 15 scores to get 6.53 repeating for the mean absolute deviation. Okay, so now it says write a sentence that compares the mean absolute deviation of the two test scores. So I know social studies has a much lower mean absolute deviation, which means the social studies scores are less spread out. So the data doesn't vary as much, whereas the mathematics scores, since it has a larger mean absolute deviation, the scores are more spread out. Okay, so I'm going to say the test scores for social studies vary less, while the test scores for math are more spread out. All right. So next one here, a survey found that 160 families and a sample of 200 families in town had a digital camera. Okay, so I'm going to use that first set of information and write a ratio. So 160 families out of 200, so this is my total, in town had a digital camera. Okay, so I'm going to set up a proportion here and say if the town has 8,000 families, so that would be the total. I'm going to put it across from the total. Predict how many families in the town have a digital camera. So the digital camera was on top there. So if I write that proportion, all I'm going to do here is cross multiply. So I get 200x is equal to 160 times 8,000. Okay, and I'm going to divide by 200. And I'm going to get my answer here of 6,400 families have digital cable. Okay. So the next one, box and whisker plot, shows the weekly biking miles of 32 bikers. So first of all, it says what percent of the bikers rode 20 miles or less. So if I find 20 here, I know that each part of my box and whisker plot represents 25% of the data. Okay, so 20 miles or less would be 75% of the bikers rode 20 miles or less. But then it says how many bikers rode 20 miles or less. So this is different because I want to know not the percentage, but the number of bikers. So I know that 75% of the 32 bikers rode 20 miles or less. So 75%, I'm just going to type that into my calculator, times 32 gives me 24 bikers. Oh, actually, just kidding. It says or more. Okay, so 20 miles or more would only be 25%. Okay, so then 1/4 of 32 would be 8 bikers. So you always want to make sure to read the question really carefully. All right, so the next one, we need to now make a box and whisker plot. So my first step would be to go through and organize the data. So I have 16, 16, and then 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 19, 19, so 4 19s, 2 20s, 22, and 23. And again, I'm going to count. Okay, so just to make sure I don't mess everything up by missing one number. All right, so now I need to find the minimum, which I know is 16, the maximum, the median, the first quartile, which is the lower quartile, and the third quartile, which is the upper quartile. So the median, I know there was 13, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which makes this 19, the median. Okay, and then since it's exactly 19, when I'm finding the lower quartile, I don't include the 19 that I circled. So I would take 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it would be in between 17 and 18, which would be 17.5 for the first quartile or the lower quartile. And then again, it would be 3 in here. So it would be in between 20 and 20, which is obviously 20. Okay, so I'm going to make my points here. I'm just going to start at 16 and just go by ones because it's not too large of a gap. Okay, so my minimum is 16, and I'm going to plot this above my graph here. My median was 19, 17.5 for the first quartile, and 20. So you always want to make your box and whisker plot, make the box with those 3 middle. The median is in the middle, and then the whiskers here going out to the end. Okay. So number 5, the dot plot shows a number of blooms on miniature rose bush plants at 2 garden supply stores. Okay, the mean absolute deviation. They give it to me, thankfully.